Hello, and welcome to the English with Colin Podcast, a podcast for English language learners. My name's Colin, I'm an English teacher in Tokyo, and if you're looking to improve your English skills and gain more confidence in your ability to communicate in English, you've come to the right place. In these episodes, I'll provide you with short conversations in English that cover a range of topics, from everyday situations to more specialised subjects. These conversations are designed to help you practice your listening skills and pick up new vocabulary and grammar along the way. Regular listening practice is key to improving your English, and I hope this podcast will become a valuable resource for you on your language learning journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. And remember, the more you listen, the more you'll learn. Before we start, I have a small favour to ask. If you are enjoying these podcasts, please take a moment to share your favourite episode with a friend. This really helps our podcast to grow. So, in your podcast app, click share and send a short message to a friend who might find our podcast useful. Thank you so much for your help. It really means a lot to us. Now, let's get on with the conversation. This is episode 45, and today we're talking about our modern Japanese apartment, an oasis from the city. Hello, Sue.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. So we've talked about where we used to live before. We've talked about living in Shinjuku. We lived in a very small apartment in an old building.
Yes, probably from the 70s.
From the 70s, yeah. And it still felt like it was stuck in the 70s in many ways. It hadn't been renovated for a long time. But it was home. It was home for us. We made it very comfortable for ourselves. But about 5 or 6 years ago, we moved to the west of Tokyo, out on the Chuo line, West Tokyo, and we live in another apartment. And this one, it's interesting. It's a big kind of complex of apartments. Mm-hmm. So it's not just one building with apartments in it. It's 5 buildings.
Something like that.
It's difficult to say because some of the buildings are kind of connected. It's a bit hard to describe, but there are, I don't know, hundreds of apartments in this kind of complex we're in. And we're in one of those apartments. We're on the 8th floor out of 15. Very different to the kind of place I grew up in. All my childhood, I grew up in detached houses in the countryside. So the idea of living in an apartment is kind of unusual to me. And living in this kind of place also was something kind of unusual. But anyway, that's kind of where we are just now. So there's a few things that we kind of like about our apartment. It's quite a new building, maybe 10 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
And when we moved in, the apartment had just been renovated.
Yeah.
So everything was fresh. I think new kitchen, new bathroom.
New floors, yeah.
New floors, wallpaper, everything was kind of very freshly done. So that's kind of where we are. What would you like to talk about?
I mean, one thing that I like, and we actually had in the older, smaller place, is we have a tatami room. So in the smaller place, that tatami room was our living area, really.
That was our main living area, and in the summer, that was also our sleeping area.
Yes, because that's where the aircon was.
There was only one air conditioner,
Yeah.
and it was in the main sort of living space. We couldn't sleep in the bedroom.
No.
It was just it can get up to, well, it's above 30 at night.
At night, yeah.
And yeah, you need the air conditioning. So yeah, we've got a tatami, which is kind of becoming less common. Modern apartment buildings, even modern houses in Japan, they're not necessarily going to have a tatami room.
No, what they do is, well, like that room still exists, but it's flooring throughout. So it kind of...
It functions as a tatami room, is that what you mean?
It functions as an extra room, maybe an office or a TV room, but it's not a tatami room.
Right.
But here we were very lucky, and I think it was one of the things that I really liked. We have it's like an extra room that has very few things in it.
Yeah.
And it just is so spacious. It just makes the room look so big. It's kind of next to what we would call our main sort of living space, our kind of living room. And then we've got sliding doors that open out into the tatami room. And yeah, when you've got the doors open, it just makes the space feel so spacious. Yeah, so big, yeah.
So big. So yeah, it goes all the way from our dining room into the living area, and then you've got the tatami. So this becomes a very big space, which is nice. But one thing I really like is the fact that we have those sliding doors, which means you can, in the winter, if it's cold, you can close those doors and you can get a heater on. Also in the summer, you can close those doors and you can get the air conditioning going. It makes it much easier to control the temperature, I think. And also if we have guests staying and, maybe they're using the tatami room as a bedroom, those doors can close and it's much more private.
That's what the tatami rooms are for. It's a multi-purpose room. So yeah, so you would usually have them very free of stuff, like clean, so they can convert to what you need them to be.
Yeah.
Which makes them very comfortable.
One thing I've noticed is, I've seen it on Instagram, but people using the tatami room as a home office.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically, very often a tatami room will have kind of in-the-wall, built-in storage space. And that's where you would normally put the futon. You'd sleep on a futon on the tatami, and in the morning, fold up the futon and put it in the deep storage space. A lot of people don't use futons anymore. Again, it's become less common. So people are using those deep storage areas as a kind of office. Yeah. Which is very clever. And I think it works really well because you can just close the door. There's sliding doors on these deep storage areas. We don't do that. It would have been a good idea, I think, during COVID. But okay. What else have we got here? One thing that I really enjoy is our bath.
Yeah, that's one of your favorite things.
Which is a strange kind of thing to say because it's a bath, but it's a special bath. But quite a normal, it's quite a standard feature, I think, in Japan. It's an auto-filling bath. So if I want to have a bath, then all I need to do is go through, make sure the plug is closed, and then I can press a button and the bath will automatically fill to a certain depth and a certain temperature.
And it will keep that temperature for a while.
Yeah,
you can tell you can tell it for how long you want it to keep it warm.
Yeah. And very often they'll have I think it's a standard thing for every kind of bath, but there's covers that you put over the top to stop to keep the bath at temperature so it doesn't cool off too quickly. But I just love the fact that I can just, press a button and the bath will fill, and then it will tell me when the bath is full. And so I don't need to, stand next to the bath and keep an eye on the level so it doesn't overflow. Like, no, I just wait until I hear the music, and the bath is ready. I think that's a really nice feature, and I will miss that.
Yeah, no, it's been incredible. Here in Japan, people actually have a bath at night. Well, first you need to shower, you get clean in the shower, which is more of a wet room.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, it's a wet room, so you have a space to shower, and then the bath. But the whole room is a wet room, so you can wet the floor, and it's separate from, say, where the sink is.
And then you would use the bath, and that's why you want to keep it warm, because you're clean. That water is used for the whole family. Everyone uses that water, which is quite good, and this is quite modern. The one from the 70s, you had to fill it.
The old apartment.
The old apartment. It was tiny. It was.
Yeah, that's true. It was an old style of bath. So an old style Japanese bath, they're very short, as in you can't stretch your legs out.
No.
They're very, very short, but they're deep.
They're very, very deep, yeah. It's very funny. To
the point where a child could stand in it, and the water would be up to their neck. Like it's... And I'm not talking about like a 1-year-old. I'm talking about maybe like a 4-year-old could stand, and the water would be up to their neck. So, no, those were not... For me, they weren't comfortable. I like to be able to stretch my legs out in the bath. But that's one thing I really appreciate, especially in the winter. If it's cold, you come back from work and you just want to relax and have a bath. And it's fantastic.
All sorts of tablets and salts and that you can use.
Yeah.
Which are amazing.
Yeah.
But there's different brands, but I like the standard ones in the supermarket.
Yeah, it's to try and give you the kind of onsen experience. Get all the salts and nutrients or whatever, minerals. I'm not sure what they have, but you put this little thing in, and it will say this is recreating the Hakone or Kusatsu or some sort of famous onsen place in Japan. So yeah, those. Yeah, the bath is very nice. What else have we got? We've got a surprisingly long balcony.
Deep and long, yeah.
Which in Japan, many apartments do have a balcony, but the balconies are often used just for maybe putting an air conditioner or doing some washing, like drying your washing.
Yeah, in Japan it's not very common to have dryers.
Oh, yes.
That's
for
not,
clothes.
Yeah, that's not a thing. And also, I mean, for washing, it's just cold water. There's no...
The washing machine.
Yeah. There's no hot water that goes into the washing machine.
Often, that's true.
So in general, people dry their clothes outside, which is very eco-friendly, if I must say. But that's what balconies are used for, the washing, just to hang the washing.
Yeah.
As you said, just a space to put the aircon.
Yeah, so the outside unit of the air conditioning goes there. But ours is quite long and quite deep. So we've got plenty of space for plants. We've got table and chairs, and we also have a little bench, and we've got space to hang our clothes as well. So we're very lucky. It was one of the reasons we liked this apartment so much, was just we knew we had some outdoor space. Yeah.
And that's when my parents have been here. I think they loved that space. It was like an extra space for them to be in. And your sister as well, I think, when she was staying in the tatami room.
That's true.
And the tatami also has a door to go out, and she was using it.
No, it's nice. It's nice to have that kind of access. What else have we got here? Well, one thing about this apartment is, and one of the reasons we left central Tokyo was to get more space.
Yes, and it was difficult to find. Well, first of all, bigger spaces will be more expensive, but also not much offer of bigger spaces. They're usually 60 square meters, maybe pushing it 70 square meters. But over that
seems to be like a fixed size. Like, I don't know what the number is, but like it seems like 75% of apartments in Tokyo are that kind of size.
If you bigger than that, it's just, for very, very rich people. But you wouldn't find the space. So coming a little bit more outside Tokyo, you can find a little bit more space, and clearly for less money.
Yeah. Our apartment would be called a 4LDK.
Yes.
So essentially, we've got three bedrooms and a tatami room, so that's kind of your
fourth room, and then the L,
living,
dining, and kitchen. Yeah.
And we use one of the bedrooms as our home office. So we both work from home quite a lot, and that's just worked out very, very well. It's really nice just having a separate space to kind of have work stuff, so that work doesn't kind of take over the rest of the apartment. So, I mean, thinking about kind of the general style, what our apartment looks like, it has a special kind of term called Japandi. And this has been around for a long time. It's not a new thing, but maybe people don't know what it is. But it's a combination of kind of Japanese style and Scandinavian style. So you get Japandi. So Japanese and Scandi would kind of be the words that are being combined there. And there are similarities between them.
Yeah.
You got the Japanese style. There's lots of wood and stone, paper, those kind of things. You've got like the tatami floor, very kind of natural materials. We've got some paper screens, shoji screens in our tatami room, and the colors are often, again, quite natural, quite neutral colors. So you got browns and greens, and we've got some greys and things like that. And lots of natural light. As I said, we've got quite a big balcony, and that brings in a lot of light as well. So those are kind of features of sort of Japanese, traditional Japanese style. But then Scandinavian style, also similar kind of colors. You get kind of whites and creams and browns and those kind of things. Light is important, and both of them are quite minimalist.
Yes, uncluttered.
Yeah. So a lot of space. Obviously, a lot of our furniture has come from IKEA, so you kind of get the Scandinavian style through IKEA, but it works very well with the Japanese apartment. So yeah, we've got this kind of Japandi style apartment, which I really like. I find it very relaxing. Lots of light, and Yeah, I like the kind of minimalist style. They're less... Sometimes it doesn't feel very minimalist. Sometimes we feel like we've got too much stuff lying around. We need to get rid of stuff. But yeah, I think it's worked well. And yeah, it's been I think it was a good move to go from the city centre and get out into the outskirts.
The outskirts. We're not necessarily out. We are just...
Yeah, we're not in the countryside.
No.
But we're very close to being in the countryside. You go a bit farther, you get into the mountains. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the English with Colin podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to the conversation and found it helpful in your language learning journey. Remember, the key to mastering a language is regular practice. So make sure you listen to our podcast regularly and keep honing your listening skills. We appreciate your support and feedback. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for future topics, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can find our contact information in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to joining you again next time for another conversation in English. Until then, keep practicing and take care.